What's up, everyone? My name is Aquila, and today I will be walking you through the key commands in a Color with Live stencil project. So when you open a Color with Live project, the first thing that I would do is go up here into this reference section, and I would load a reference track into slot 1 and reference slot 2. As you can see, I've already done this, and both of these, the solo is controlled with key commands specific to the templates. And to solo reference 1, you just hit open bracket like that, and I'm just going to play it so you can hear. And then to solo reference track 2, you just do close bracket, and you can flip them on and off just by turning them on and off. For this example, I just loaded a random drum loop into the drums section. I might even have a kick drum playing in here. I'm just going to mute the kick drum because we have a drum loop going. Now I'm just going to let you hear our project by disabling the solos. So we just have this drum loop going, and now we can hear our reference 1, reference 2, turn them off and only hear ours. So both of these reference channels are feeding into this reference group, and I did that. You can see just the outputs of these channels are going to reference group, and then reference group is set to in and no input, and that just means both of these are going to be traveling to here and then external output. So nothing that happens in this reference group is going to be affected by what we do to our master or by anything that's in our project down here. This is just its own thing up here. And as you can see, there's this frequency check rack that gives us more control of our referencing. And all of these are key mapped to certain parameters on the keyboard. I'm going to show you guys real quick, but I'm also going to put all the key commands in the description of this video. They become second nature after a while. Whenever I'm referencing, I'm just like, oh, I want to hear what my low end sounds like compared to theirs, or the punch of my mids of my kick compared to theirs. And I'll just like flip back and forth. The way that you do that, if you want to mono your tracks or check your song in mono compared to your reference track, make sure caps lock is on, and then you're going to hit M for mono. And we're going to listen to what our drum loop sounds like in mono. And then I'm going to flip on reference 1, and that's also in mono, and reference 2, also in mono, back to ours. The reason why you have to have caps lock on is because Ableton already has M mapped to this up here, which just allows you to play virtual instruments from like your typing keyboard whenever it's soloed. But that was already mapped, so just make sure caps lock is on if you want to use the mono function. Right next to that is the comma, and that's to solo the bass. So now we're listening to the bass of our drum loop, the bass of reference 1, and the bass, the low end of reference 2. And we can make adjustments to our song just by listening to the references. So we're going to turn that off now, and we're going to go to the next, which is a period, and that solos the mid-range. So now you're listening to the mid-range of our drum loop. Now the mids of reference 1, now the mids of reference 2. Now we're going to turn it off. And now we're going to go to the highs, which is right next to that. It's the backslash. And now we have the solo, or the highs soloed. And like when I'm referencing, I'm going back and forth really quick. Like, you know, just a little bit of ear calibration, reset those ears. And then we have sides, which is the colon or the semicolon. And you can reference the sides. This is the sides of reference 1, the sides of reference 2, the sides of our drum loop. This is very, very handy when you're listening to, you know, the sides of other elements and noticing how loud the claps are on the sides or how loud the kick is on the sides. Most of the time the kick is mono. You can hear how loud the synths are on the sides, and you can make a lot of really good stereo imaging decisions just by being able to hear the sides of your reference track and compare your elements to the reference track. So now we're going to turn it off. If you have any problems with this referencing system, usually it's because you might have accidentally like turned this knob up on the bass. And then you can see we have the same thing on our master channel, and they're all key mapped to the same things. But now if we hit the comma for bass, you can see the one on the master turns on. And since we messed with this one and turned it on before, now this one's turned off. So now when we go back and forth, you can hear that the low end is soloed on ours but not theirs. Easiest fix is just to like flip that back up, and now they're working with each other again. Another issue that you could have sometimes is if you're adjusting something like volume, and you say you hit the comma, it'll do a comma here. So just like click out of that if you want to use the reference group. This makes things so easy. I've been doing it for years. I had to look at the keyboard when I'm explaining to you which buttons it actually is, because it becomes an internal thing after a while. And it's like a video game controller for me. And I'm just flipping back. Like, I'm never really spending more than a fraction of a second listening to my reference channel while I just calibrate my ears. And it allows me to work for longer periods of time as well, because I'm attacking this with a goal. Like, I'll listen to the clap in my reference channel and just be like, oh, you know, my goal is to make my clap sound a little bit wider. And by using these tools, it just makes it very, very easy to get to that final result. So again, I'm going to put all of these key commands in the description. But until next time, Aquila out. I'm like, no, I don't even know how to edit yet. So this is going to stay in the video.